Alright. I have an idea. Now I can put it into play. You're coming with me, Mike. It's fucking windy, dude.
3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, and welcome to a normal episode of the Pixel Venture podcast, starring the guy who's not editing this time.
And I am editing this time.
Cool. Sorry about the last episode coming out late. I'm dumb.
Yeah, I know I make it look easy all the time, but...
I thought you were going to vomit. Like, yeah, I make it look easy.
It's fine for my health.
Yeah, it's fine. The crossfades. Oh, God. But, if you haven't checked out last episode, I say go for it. We answered a bunch of viewer questions, and it was a lot of fun. I got really lazy with half of the edits, but it's okay, because now we're back in the swing of things.
Yeah, and I can be lazy with the edits.
Yeah, it's your turn. I love how you called me out last episode when you knew that I was just going to hit a wall where I was like, fuck this.
Honestly, I didn't really know you were going to hit a wall until the ladder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the idea, I had a good idea for the ladder.
Like, you had the idea for the ladder, and I'm like, buddy.
You never gave me the Witcher marker, which actually, as a reminder, quickly add that last tally right there. And I guess, do we count that as another tally?
Not yet. That comes later.
Okay,
cool.
The
reason why I didn't give you the tally is because the tally I use is, like, the like, Witcher 3 logo. Mm-hmm. But in Photoshop, I, like, cut out 2 of them, so I don't have, like, just the tally.
Oh.
Yeah, so you were going to have to make it on your own either way.
Well, you never told me that.
Yeah, well, no one tells me how to do my job now, do they?
Well, you choose to do it.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't remember how the tally started.
Because you were just like, hey, every time we mention it, we should put a little marker. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And so you put.
Well,
the
yeah,
symbol
that's
on
you
it, so.
starting it then.
Well, no, because you're the one that had to choose the file and everything. You had chose to just ignore it.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. It's down to you. Is this the end of the Pixel Venture podcast? They're fighting over the tally mark.
Wow, look at this drama. It's almost as bad as Blizzard.
Oh my God, we're jumping right into that.
We can't.
You know what?
We can't avoid it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Guys,
they're too close to my heart.
Yeah. Hey guys, just real quick, just letting you know, the glorious land that is China, while they don't influence this podcast in their most, beautiful and handsome ways,
unless they're willing to pay. I mean, China.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
I have a Twitter now.
No. Yeah, hey,
hit me up, China.
Don't worry about it. Look. We love you. We love the NBA bending a knee to you. We love that you give it equal opportunity for all politicians. Having Winnie the Pooh.
We don't. We don't.
Is.
We don't think he looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, we don't. Well, we say that in a loving way, such as he gives good hugs and eats a lot of honey.
We don't think he looks like Winnie the Pooh, and we love your idea of social points that are totally fair.
Yeah, and we love your idea of, censorship of media and anything that could possibly be, just stabbing you in the back. And also, we believe that there was no such thing as Tiananmen Square. We understand, that never existed.
What square?
Exactly. Hey, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like all of that is bad for the episode.
Is it?
I don't know. Okay, Hey. You know what? I'm going to put out a controversial opinion right now. Fuck China. Like, you see the shit they're doing?
Banned.
Yeah, banned.
1 year ban. No money for
1
you.
year ban. Yeah, oh god, dude, Overwatch career is over.
No, it was Hearthstone, dude.
It was
Your Hearthstone career has ended.
God damn it. No, dude, it's everything. Fucking everything. Cause like,
Dude, who even needs
Yeah.
who needs a Hearthstone career when you have Gwent?
That's when we put the tally up. But for everyone who has not been able to keep up with the news, which I'd say it's pretty difficult because you see like not only is it the video game industry, but you're actually seeing sports as well.
Wait. Before we get into the sad news, I have some happy news that's actually tangential to what I said.
Okay.
Apparently, so speaking of Gwent, you know, Henry Cavill and how he's playing Geralt in the Witcher Netflix show?
Yes.
Apparently, he loves Gwent
Oh, that's dope.
and The Witcher before being cast.
Oh,
And then
that's actually really good.
And then that reminded me of how Henry Cavill was playing World of Warcraft and running raids when he got the call to play Superman. And in fact, he missed the first call of being Superman because he was in a raid.
Dude, it's honestly like a lot of people have that stereotype of people who play games and like the way that they like look and act and everything. But at the end of the day, it's like there are going to be people that fit that stereotype, and then there's people who are like just doing whatever. Like I know a ton of people who could be considered like jock types who are huge into games, and I also know people who would be normally associated with video games who don't want to touch the damn thing, you know?
And then remembering that Henry Cavill World of Warcraft story reminded me of a story from the Warcraft movie, because the guy who played Gul'dan, I forget his name, but he was like an Asian actor who was basically like Asia's version of like Jackie Chan to us. Or like Tom Cruise or something, like a big actor over there. And apparently he wasn't really into like World of Warcraft at all, or Warcraft in general before then. But he was like a busy actor in a lot of movies, and apparently like his wife was really big into World of Warcraft, and at the time of casting, his wife was pregnant, and he's like, like, I've got like a job to do, and she's like, no, like, you can't do that, like, I'm about to like, have a baby, like, you have to be there for the baby. And he's like, but it's for the Warcraft movie. And she's like, you're fucking accepting it, dude.
You know what? You need that kind of support.
Yeah.
But hey,
and
speaking
of things that do well in China, Blizzard has some drama.
Oh my god, I was going to say, speaking of support, so this is actually something that extends past games. It extends to the NBA, extends to Hong Kong. There's a lot of stuff to unpack.
Dude, there's so many things influenced by China. But like we can get back into like the story.
Yeah, and like we're probably going to just like briefly touch upon things and like give our opinions and stuff. I personally really recommend that you take a look at the whole story and form your own opinions, which, I mean, majority of opinions are going to be all with, like, the fuck China thing that I said earlier, but, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, China has been cracking down hardcore on Hong Kong, essentially trying to, like, negate free speech and rights and all that stuff for their, like, citizens of Hong Kong. Because Hong Kong used to be part of China, correct?
From what I've been able to pick up from the story is Hong Kong is a part of China, but Hong Kong was, up until pretty recently actually, Hong Kong was a British colony. and it was recently let go. And before then, because it was, I forget like the exact word, colony, or like uh I'm like going brain dead on the words, territory.
Mm-hmm.
Um but because of that, Hong Kong basically had a separate set of laws from the rest of China, even though it still kind of shared some of China's general laws.
Yeah, I quickly actually pulled up a web page. It says this is from worldatlas.com. Hong Kong is actually what is called a special administrative region of China. By all accounts, Hong Kong is a part of China. However, in its day-to-day existence, Hong Kong operates like its own country.
Yeah. So it's like independent, but it's not. And then when it became like, more officially a part of China, they took over a lot more than they used to. Um,
Mm.
and that's where like a lot of uproar is coming from.
Yeah,
Uh,
and also just like the dodgy shit that they're doing, where it's like there's the violence and the protests and stuff, and then their leader just being like, yeah, we're not being violent. It's just everybody else is stinky," and everyone else is like, "No."
yeah, we're not being violent. Everyone's just killing themselves out of nowhere for some reason.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
had
Like
nothing to do with it, and none of us killed them.
yeah, it's like Danganronpa. They just threw themselves off the building.
Yeah, they just raped their own
It's
suicide somehow.
it's just like who trying to fool? Like honestly, that's like do you remember? I believe it was last year with who was the reporter that got like murdered in a what was that? I'm trying to remember. It was that one reporter who got killed while in a what are those buildings where it's like represent the company? Well, not company. The country, like in a separate place, like the ambassador type areas.
Oh, right.
It was Khashoggi. Was that his name? I think. I'm trying to remember, but like
Yeah, I'm blanking too.
yeah, Jamal Khashoggi. Yeah, that was him.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was like brutally murdered. But regardless, like it's that same sort of situation where everyone knows what happened, but the government's just like, I didn't do it, and they're like obviously holding like bloody knife murder message that says I killed them, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so obvious what China is trying to do, but the thing is that China has a bigger influence on like the world market than a lot of people actually think. Like for example, they are given so much funding to the video game industry. Like you actually look at the percentage that Chinese companies own like the rights for games and stuff. Like Tencent, which is a Chinese company, owns League of Legends.
Tencent owns Riot. They own. I've seen like mixed numbers, but they generally range between 40% to 48% of Epic Games. And they currently have a 5% ownership of stock with Activision Blizzard, uh, which isn't a lot, but China does give Blizzard a lot of money. From my experience, it's especially because of World of Warcraft and like gold farming takes up like a
Hmm.
lot of their money.
Yeah, and it's just funding from outside sources and things like that. That's something that just has always been prevalent in the game industry. But the thing is that you see all of the like shit that China is doing right now, and how you could how people are easily speaking out about it, and there's a lot of censorship on China's side. Hell, like, didn't they have that law that was passed where it was like to ban any post that is seen as slander against the government?
Honestly, that was probably like a while ago, even.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that happened and that's actually what fueled the protests, because what it did was made it so that it was a criminal offense if you like bad talked the government, as and like people in Hong Kong, they saw that as a way of like China trying to reclaim people, like, you know, arrest them, move them into China, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
so that they can prosecute them with their laws instead of Hong Kong's.
Oh, right.
And
Uh,
yeah,
I I I could be getting this wrong, and
I
with
will
all
fact check.
with um all the bad shit going on with China, I would hate for any hate to be going to them for the wrong reasons when there's plenty of right reasons. I feel like I remember hearing a story where I could be wrong on that, but
I
there's
would
been like
fact check that.
there's so many
and
stories
put,
going out.
yeah, I like when you're doing the edit, just quickly like put here, sort of like what we can find with that to see if that's accurate or not. Because one of the biggest things too is that there's a lot of misinformation about what China is and isn't doing. Because
Or
you see,
or I'll pull a China and just censor myself so no one has to listen to my slander.
yeah, I mean, if that's the case, do you want me to do a clap?
No, I can find it.
Okay, cool.
Um,
And the thing is, though, with Blizzard, like, you see, like, Riot Games is 100% owned by Tencent and everything, and people, like, are already aware of that, and they're just kind of like, whatever, but I feel like the reason why people are going to Blizzard and Activision when they only have 5% is the way that they handled the censorship. Because what happened, for anyone who doesn't know, in a Hearthstone tournament, one of the players, I forget the player's name, but during
I know his like username is Blitzchung.
during one of the matches, he said "Free Hong Kong" or "Stand with Hong Kong."
Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times.
And because he said that, they pulled the prize money that he won. How much was it?
They pulled the $10,000 of first place prize money. They banned him from the game for a year, and they fired the two commentators that were working with Blizzard. They fired them permanently.
And of course, uproar of people being pissed because, you know, censorship and like being terrified of biting the hand that feeds you, all while China's just like going to Hong Kong and being like, I'm gonna fucking just mess you up, and nobody's going to do anything because we have hands in their pockets. Hell, like, have you followed anything that's happened with the NBA?
Other than some of the comments LeBron James has made, no.
What a fucking idiot!
But
I'm sorry, like,
but they're Blizzard's such like a funny story. Cause here, like the thing is, they banned him. Nobody knows who pulled the trigger on Blitzchung and who like got him banned and took away the money. Like it probably isn't J. Allen Brack, the CEO or president of Blizzard, being like, oh no, he mentioned Hong Kong, we better, like, you know, play it safe. It was honestly probably someone, like, in, like, China or something, or someone in, like, a smaller foreign department that did it. Because, here's the thing, when it happened, Blizzard came out with a statement. In fact, I can, like, put something up here. They showed that the reason they banned him is because he violated the professional contract that he had signed to be in the Hearthstone tournament, which explicitly states that players are not to mention things that are political that, like, could be seen as offensive to other people. But the thing is, it also says, but to Blizzard's discretion, basically saying they can ban whoever they want. Now, So if you put it in that frame, it makes sense why they would ban him, because it even does say that it would, remove them from competitive play and lower their winnings to $0. It explicitly says that specifically. But the problem is, they did it to something that people pretty much universally believe in, except for China, which doesn't look very good. Especially since they don't mind about getting political when they're very open about LGBT rights, like most other companies wanting to cash grab on that kind of opportunity. So it's a little bit
because
redundant.
the moment you slap a rainbow on your logo, apparently you support them.
On your logo, commentators will wear clothing with rainbows on it. They sold like rainbow sweatbands for the Overwatch League. But the thing is,
literally, like, the thing is, at the end of the day, that's just more money. They don't give a shit about the community.
And then another problem people have like brought up arises of, if they didn't ban him, people being really optimistic have said, if they didn't ban him, honestly, Hong Kong might not have gotten like this problem wouldn't have gone as big if it weren't for Blizzard banning it and fucking up that way. If you really wanted to paint like a positive spin on Blizzard's fuck up, like no one probably would have known of like Blitzchung and what he said had Blizzard not like caused everyone to freak out.
It definitely is a catalyst for a lot of stuff going on right now.
Like, the drama is publicity for what's going on. But on top of that, if they didn't ban him, then people could use that as a reason to use Blizzard, or I guess more specifically Hearthstone, but eventually Blizzard in general, to push agendas.
I mean, they're already doing that. Like, have you seen, like, they take all the pictures of Mei from Overwatch and they put, like, the Stand with Hong Kong hats or whatever?
Yeah, they've been taking that down. But, like, if they could have someone from Hong Kong pushing, like, liberate Hong Kong, like, technically speaking, if they were going to be fair with everybody having an equal voice, like, someone could stand up and be pro the Chinese government. If they were really going to be fair with the everyone gets a voice. So, if you wanted to be as neutral as possible, Blizzard is damned if they ban him, but also damned if they didn't.
It's literally because it's just there's no winning combination for them.
Yeah.
With how everything is going, and like, because I mean, like, I really do want to touch upon NBA stuff. Like, I think there's like a way I can.
I think as like a few final notes, another thing people have been really sus about is the official statements that have been coming out, because Blizzard, in the American versions of the statements, they're very like apologetic, and they're very like, we like did this, like this is why we did it, like trying to almost like ask for forgiveness without saying I'm sorry, basically.
Yeah.
But if you look at what the Chinese accounts are posting, they're saying like horrendous things. I don't remember it like word for word, but I'm sure I can find a picture, and it's like, it's saying like this will not be tolerated, and like it's much more aggressive with like banning Blitzchung. And then when the president of Blizzard Entertainment, or Activision Blizzard, whatever, came out with the statement, like in a more official statement, saying like all of like the drawbacks, and being like, none of this is influenced by China. People have been doing an amazing job picking apart the grammar, and basically coming to the conclusion, based on the grammar, that he probably didn't actually write it himself, Jal and Brack, and an American, because if you look at a lot of the mistakes, they're very common Chinese native speaking mistakes to make in English, based on like fucking random stuff. which also looks kind of sus that it's like an American translation of a Chinese written apology, and it's like getting
And
their approval. But it's such like a fucked situation.
it's literally because like not only is again affecting games, it's affecting sports, it's affecting other entertainment like ventures and stuff like that. Because you see like with the NBA, like for anyone who's been following that, there was the tweet. I forget who it was from, or who did it, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just the stand with Hong Kong, got deleted, had a quote unquote apology, and then a bunch of players started speaking about it, and just oh my god, the amount of just it just pisses me off because literally the players are like, oh, maybe you should think more about what you're saying before you go and blame, like, others for certain things that are happening. It's like, there's fucking people dying in the streets because they're trying to desperately hold on to their freedoms. And you're here like, China's awesome. They give us money to play.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that, dude. Like, I get it. People are scared because China's thrown a bunch of money at all of us, and it's just like, oh, we're able to like make the league bigger, or we're able to run more servers, or just do stuff more in general because we're getting a ton of money. But like, we're also funding the problem, so why defend it?
Like for
Like,
me, like and there's a ton of examples that you can find out there of things like this happening. Apple recently deleted a Chinese app that would allow citizens to basically like track where the police are for like protests and things like that. They recently got rid of that at, China's request. They've also been selling like a lot of data to China, more more than usual, to be specific. Um, Google's been doing a similar thing. I forget what brand it was. I want to say like, was it Converse, Vans? What's like the famous one that people will like design a lot?
a lot of people do designs with both, but I'm going to assume Converse.
Because I remember one of them was like holding a competition, and someone released an entry where
Oh,
like
Vans. That's
Vans,
Vans.
yeah, and
They
it
were doing
featured
a.
like Hong Kong protesters like on it, and those were just like immediately disqualified without any like further notice. Um, I want, and there's like a ton of stores too. They've been like pulling brands, they've been pulling ads and censoring people, and like if you actually look at it, the list is fucking huge.
It's
And
fucking terrifying.
the thing for me, and like I'm gonna go back to it hopefully one last time, like when it came out that like Blizzard was under the influence, like that fucking hit me, dude. Like
It
we'd known for a while with like Blizzard Immortal being like, pandering to the mobile market and being developed by a Chinese developer, and there's been plenty of other things as well. Like it wasn't a great sign that the Warcraft movie did way better in China than it did in America. It doesn't
mm,
really help that like everything Blizzard's been doing has just been like going to shit the last couple of years, between the vanilla private servers to expansions promising way more than they ever release, and like all of these like shitty things going on. Heroes of the Storm being like left in the dust basically, but like
mm.
seeing like such a direct like influence by China, by like all of this kind of coming up, and even the people at Blizzard like doing a walkout at the headquarters to like show that the people working at Blizzard are not fans of what's going on with Blizzard. Like fucking like they were my childhood.
Mm.
Like they were what, like I grew up with World of Warcraft, and like I've been following Overwatch since like literally day one, from like the release trailer to like playing it the year at PAX, the year before it came out. Uh, Here's the Storm was my favorite MOBA. Like World of Warcraft is literally how I got the username I use for everything else to name like one of the many stories I have from it. And like it's turning into a shitty company now.
It sucks because like you grow up with it, you see them like become huge, and now they're just crumbling because they're trying to put themselves in a box and they're trying to keep themselves safe.
Like for
And
me,
it's just like,
this is like this would be like if Nintendo came out that like they program their games using like slave labor. Like like it hits really hard because I like had such a high opinion of them, and like they were like my favorite company for the longest time. But like, yeah, like I remember talking about like with other people like how perfect Blizzard is, and how everyone at the company is so like amazing and perfect. Like uh, Mike Morheim, who was the old CEO, who's now gone. Chris Metzen, who's now gone. Jeff Kaplan's still around, so we have Jeff
I think so,
Kaplan.
yeah.
We do still have him on the Overwatch team, but like,
But who knows how much longer?
there were so many like you felt like you knew everybody who worked at Blizzard, but
Mm.
now it's just Jeff, who's good. But you also have
Yeah,
Jay Allen.
no,
You have Jay
absolutely
Allen
not.
Brack, who runs the whole thing, and he's the one who said, "You think you do, but you don't." With
Mm.
Vanilla,
I don't know.
he
Like,
owns the company.
honestly, it's just like we're not bashing anyone who's still at Blizzard. We're not bashing people for doing their job.
Definitely
It's just
not. Like
it
I you
feels
can't even bash
horrible.
them because like they they walked out. Like they are actively not like in support of what they're doing. At this point they're just doing a job. They're not doing it because they like the company anymore.
Yeah, the passion is gone.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with a lot of companies is that the passion's gone because they see a paycheck and they're like, this is probably going to be the best move for the company. And if it turns out that, it doesn't work out with the way of what they envisioned the company to do, then it makes sense to leave. It hurts like hell, but honestly, like for the off chance that anyone from Blizzard or anyone who's part of any of the countless companies, whether it's fashion, video games, like sports, anyone who's been affected by everything that's been happening with China and censorship and everything, I hope to God that you're successful. I hope that everything works out from this point on because right now this is just some bullshit. This is absolute bullshit and shouldn't even be an issue because we all should be able to rally against the fact that people are literally dying in the streets and having their like rights essentially brought down to be the same of like animals, of pets, and it's just infuriating that anyone would rather prioritize a paycheck over basic human life.
Yeah, they're dying in the streets. There was like a teenager that recently came out who was found dead and naked in like a river, as if like it was a suicide when definitely not. There's videos of the police like actively beating people, shooting them at blank range, planting evidence on them while they're being filmed, uh, torture, and there is no real defense.
If you want a textbook example of an oppressive government, look at China.
Yeah,
Look at how it's abusing power. Look how it's abusing its citizens, all in the guise of maintaining order.
it is literally trying to silence like its citizens, or beating them into submission, or killing them for not submitting.
And this is one of those situations. Okay, here's another thing that I fucking hate with every time there's a situation like this, whether it's international or national or hell in our backyard. people always say thoughts and prayers. Or they'll say, this is the time we need to do something. We've needed to fucking do something for the past month. And all we've gotten is people saying, this is bad, this is still bad, it's getting worse. We haven't done anything. And that's just fucking unacceptable. Because at this point, it's proven beyond a doubt that what they're doing is just horrendous. So why the fuck are we not trying to, like, change things, to try to, take out who's in power, like, all that. And I'm not saying, like, assassination or whatever. I'm literally saying just, like, people's lives are being lost in the effort for silence. Essentially, what China's trying to do is Tiananmen Square Part 2, and I'm not going to fucking stand for it. And I don't think anyone should.
Yeah.
If you are looking at China and you're like, I understand what they're doing, please leave. Go to Hong Kong, see what they're doing, and see if you can look me in the eye and say that same exact statement. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this.
Just as a reminder, we don't get political on this podcast.
We don't normally try to, but I feel like with a situation like this, we have to.
No, like at this point, like there is no avoiding it.
Absolutely no way to dodge.
Like I wasn't saying that as like, oh, we shouldn't talk about politics. Like, no, like there is no way of avoiding it.
Yeah, it's something that affects you, affects me, affects the listener, affects everybody.
Not talking about it just makes you a bystander, or more of a bystander than we can be being across the ocean. Specifically us being, like, college students with, like, not a lot we can do.
Yeah, like, our sphere of influence is very small. But if we could at least get more people talking, more people thinking about this, I say we completed our task. Because this is more than just a crisis in Hong Kong. This is more than just a demonstration of corrupt power. This is something that is shifting the global climate. And it is more important now than ever for people to tune into the news, to understand what's happening around them, because it is so easy to be misinformed. It's so easy to ignore everything when you can literally just flip a switch on your phone and never have to see anything again. Like, people have the option to tune everything out, and there's a lot of people that do. I normally would do that. But this is something that directly impacts our lives. It might seem impossible because it's the other side of the world, but that's just it. It is incredibly possible because you look at technology, you look at where we are as just society as a whole for the entire world, and we're more connected than ever before. The moment that something happens, we can get updates. The moment that we see crime, it's out there. And so the fact that it's been this long with all these protests, China flexing all of their power and their ability to silence people, and then just saying, like, oh, you guys are misinformed, you're not seeing the real picture. Fuck you, we are.
Honestly, in this day and age, a lot of, like, your voice comes from your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you decide, like, who gets the power by who gets to be a part of your life, and who you give your money to, and who's going to have the money to then further their power. Honestly, it's kind of hard with this situation, because China kind of owns a little bit of everything. Not to mention that that's where everything is made and produced, but, like, they also have a fair share of a lot of the companies.
Because right now, what it is China knows that it has everything in its pocket. it can do whatever the hell it wants, and it knows that people will hesitate because they know the moment that they do something that China doesn't like, it's like, oh, okay, all factory production for this kind of metal is gone. No new phones can be made, no new cars can be made. Like, every country is very reliant on China. Like, you look at, like, if you do this real quick, listener. Go around your house and see how many things are labeled made in China. I bet that you're going to find at least enough things in the double digits.
Or, honestly, to even, like, add on that, things made in Taiwan, too.
Exactly.
There's a lot of things made there, too.
Like, there is so much of just our lives that are made out there that people just overlook. And that's why the situation is so fucking hard. And I get that. But look at the lives that we're losing. Look at the people who are not going to be able to see tomorrow because they want to speak out. Honestly, it's situations like this that make me believe for a fact that I'm making the right decision in studying journalism. Because I want to be able to talk about the world and events and everything. Even if, like, there are people trying to suppress it, even if there's, multiple, like, governments and things like that, or companies who just are trying to make sure the word doesn't get out, I want to be there to break it. I want to be able to keep everybody informed and everybody up to date with all the facts, all the evidence, everything, so that everyone knows exactly what's going on. I realize that we've been talking about this for almost the entire episode. But I think I can speak for you as well as myself by saying that this is something that you should care deeply about, as referred to the listener.
Yeah.
Other than that, what else has been happening in your life?
I got a freak frap.
Nice tonal shift.
I got...
Did we talk about Boston Burger Company before? I think we did.
Yeah, we've shown them before.
Yeah, that was the episode with Whitney, right?
No. Well, we mentioned it then, but I've been there since and mentioned it, like, after.
Yeah, didn't you get a milkshake that's just a fucking breakfast?
Yeah. I'll be putting a picture up. It's a caramel frap with whipped cream on top, and sticking out of it is 3 mini pancakes, 2 French toast sticks, and candied bacon with a caramel drizzle on top.
That's just a meal. That is a meal. You don't even need to get burgers at that point.
I got a burger with that.
Jake!
It's okay, I split the frap with my ma'am.
Oh my god. That's still a lot.
It was. We literally, the reason this happened was because my mom visited with some friends from out of town. I think one of them was from, like, Virginia and the others from, like, New Orleans, so we were, like, showing them the Northeast, or she was, and I happened to tag along. And we went there for, like, lunch, and then my mom, being the meal expert that she was, planned for us to go to the Sail Loft, which I showed you the menu for. It has, like, really good seafood and some pretty damn good clam chowder that it says is the best in Boston, and honestly I wouldn't doubt it. Along with the best fish and chips, among other things. It's a really good place. And we were also going to stop by the my world's famous modern pastry. But then we got to the Boston Burger Company, ate, no one else finished their food but me, and no one wanted to eat later that day. Yeah.
Literally, it's like... don't know. I need to be like back in Boston soon so I can go and have that. Because I'm assuming that free crap is the one for the month, right? Like the one that cycles out.
No,
It isn't.
that was the brunch frap.
That's been on the menu.
Yeah, for brunch.
What the fuck?
You were there at like 1, and yeah, they have breakfast fraps. I think that one was specifically called like the breakfast for champions.
Oh my
And you know
God.
what? It fucking was. I forget what this month's was. I know it was also a caramel frap. Fucking, I'll probably show a picture of it anyway.
Yeah.
And list like
Just
the
toss it up right
ingredients.
there.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? What else was there? Yeah.
They have burgers, fries if you want them.
Yeah, really
There you
good,
go.
really good fries.
Yeah.
Homemade chips that come with the burgers by default. They have like fucking, what are they, like pizza fries?
Yeah, that's what Whitney got.
Yeah.
But unless you have other things to say, I can kind of talk about my life.
All right.
Well, between the last time we recorded and now, I've been kind of going through some rough stuff. It's not anything like, I mean, I'd consider it, I guess, major, but it's more of like a personal thing rather than like a people thing. And so, in sort of like an effort to kind of get out of my own head, I tried to keep myself busy with work and school and a bunch of other obligations. And as part of one of the obligations, I had to help out with setting up a event. It's going to be happening at my college. It's called Democracy Now! And honestly, I don't care too much for it, but I mean, I'm getting 10 extra points on my final for attendance, so you know, I'm down. But after setting it up, I had some friends invite me out to get dinner, and that was pretty cool. Jake, you've played odds before, right?
I'm just gonna let you keep telling the story. I'll leave my comments to the end.
Alright, so, for anyone who doesn't understand how odds work, what you do is you make a statement. Usually it starts with odds are. So, for example, if I said, odds are I try to eat this whole cookie in one bite, the other person would say a number, and that's going to be your scale, between 1 and whatever that number is. A lot of people say it needs to be between 1 and 50, and then you pick the marker of like where that falls in between. But I like to do any number amount, because then it's like crazy if you actually get the same one. So say this person was like 15. Now, after counting 3, 2, 1, if you both say the same number, you have to do whatever the odds was. If you don't get the same number, then you're safe. And so we went to, there's this like Mexican place called Margaritas. It's my first time there. It was pretty good, honestly. I got enchiladas, I'm pretty sure, because I just wasn't really in the mood for too much. But that's not important. We had dinner, and it was nice, and we were doing trivia night, and it was a lot of fun. At the very end, we decided to order a lava cake and split it among the 5 that were there. After it came out and we were like eating it for a bit, I decided, hey, odds are I eat this with the hot sauce that we were given earlier. And they said the scale would be 12. We counted 3, 2, 1, and we both said the number 5. We changed it so that I would only need to take 1 bite with the hot sauce. And so I did it. and Jake can throw in the video of me and my reaction to it right here. It also shows off how my gross baggy sweatshirt makes me look awful.
Just ate lava cake with hot sauce in it.
You don't taste it.
Oh, really?
You really don't.
Oh, fuck.
Wait, there it is. Now it's there. Okay, then you eat it.
Oh, Corey.
Yeah.
But yeah. So didn't taste good.
I would just like to make it clear that based on how Corey told me the story the first time, because he mentioned it to me before we started, the episode.
Mm-hmm.
He made sure to make it very clear to me that he proposed eating the whole thing with the hot sauce, and he had to be talked down to just one bite,
I ain't no bitch.
which goes to show just how the Corey do.
Yeah, the Corey do. Look, man, it was a good night. I had a lot of fun. It was good food. We sang along 2 songs in the car. It was great. I honestly really needed it for all the crap that I'm going through. Hey! You know what? That was cool. I said that mid-yawn. It is late. I am tired. But, nah, it was, I'm gonna be honest, initial flavor was not bad at all, and then the hot sauce was like, hey, remember, we're smoky. And that's when it kicked in, and it was not fun. Hey, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Odds are this episode actually turns out okay.
I have a Twitter now. It's official. I do have a Twitter now.
Oh my god, nice. Nice segue. Perfect segue. Oh my god.
And it's completely original.
Yeah, not ripping off mine.
I don't know
At all.
what you're talking about.
Okay, I will say that's clever where you copied the like 1/2 of Pixel Venture podcast and then you said like 1/4 of this bio is original.
Yeah. And then you had like a 4th part that was Snapchat, and then
Yeah, my Snapchat.
I do not partake in the devil's media. So my mind didn't immediately close the gap and think Snapchat, but the first thing that did come to my mind was StarCraft. And I like the Zerg. So that's officially part of my bio.
I love that's what you jumped to.
I'm a fucking gamer, dude.
Gamer time?
I'm a fucking gamer.
Gamer time?
Dude. Buff Boys time?
Oh my god. Are we going to do that again?
I mean, I didn't show the footage last time, so I can show it now. Actually, no, you didn't show the footage because I didn't send it to you.
You never sent it!
Because we both forgot.
Yeah.
You reminded me the out of order sign. You said nothing about the footage.
I completely forgot, and at that point I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's throw in some of that footage. Because honestly, we touched upon the game, we didn't really talk too much about it.
Yeah.
Might as well use the last bit of the podcast to talk a bit about the game.
Alright.
So, I did a pretty crap job of describing it before. So pretty much, you can choose to either start with a partner or not. And as you play the game, you go through prompts that are like the choose your own adventure type. But they can range between like, do you stay here for camp? Or do you fire golf balls at zombies in order to try to increase your strength? It's like, it has its moments where it likes to just poke fun at the way that the game plays. Such as, like, if you lose your car, there's a possible event that you get where a guy will drive past you and scream, "Nerds!" and then you lose your composure.
Or you can be mauled by a cat.
Oh my god.
I think we died doing that.
Yeah. I think we did.
But, the reason
Wait, was
why-
that part of the footage?
I don't know if we got it or if we stopped by then.
I think we might have stopped.
But the
because
reason...
that was one of the
reason-
funniest things ever.
The reason why we're buff boys is because
Buff boys.
you can pick a trait. One of them...
Buff boys.
One of them is mega buff.
You can lift furniture because you're a buff boy.
You can lift furniture. It's
Start
kind
with
of
a lead pipe.
It's kind of ironic and funny that while we can pick up furniture, we also have no athletic skill in the game.
Yeah.
So we can pick things up once and then we're exhausted.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, all those stats are randomized. Like, anytime you enter the game, like, there's some sort of preconceived stats that you have, like, strength does not equal stamina in that game, or, like, agility or whatever. Strength is just how hard you hit.
You can also pick up, like, hitchhikers and stuff. Corey and I have, like, our own characters that we made. But
Yeah.
they eventually died off when we found other people. And we ended up with, a man in a kaiju costume and
Count Dracula.
Count Dracula and fucking a fucking Valkyrie
Yeah. Yeah,
With-
and we
with
couldn't use the
Mjolnir.
hammer because we weren't worthy.
with Mjolnir, and we couldn't give the hammer to anyone else because they weren't worthy. So I
Yeah,
played.
and then you learned that you could throw it.
I played as a fucking battle maiden and threw it and bounced it off all the fucking walls.
Yeah, it was dope until we died.
Yeah, it was dope until we died in a siege.
Yeah. To be fair, that game can be kind of hard to navigate with two people because only one person can go into doors.
Yeah.
Yet the other person can, like, interact with them too. So, like, if the other person runs up, they can close the door or open it and that kind of thing. And it is important to close doors in that game.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to lose track of where you're going. And it's just, like, hyper important that you know what's happening when it's happening. Also, we haven't gotten a dog on our team yet. Because we both refuse to get friend of dog trait because we are buff boys.
We're buff boys, and dogs aren't buff.
Buff boys. Dogs aren't strong, buff boys.
Yeah. Try showing me one.
Remember
picking
when we
up
got-
a chair?
Remember when we got the fucking, what was it, the bodybuilder? And he can't hold any weapons because all he does is flex.
I remember we got Elvis Presley, and every time he's a
Elvis.
buff boy who sings every time you hit something and attracts
Yeah, and
all
it-
the zombies.
And it doesn't even sound like shit, it just goes...
Just
It's so fucking funny, cause like we're trying, like I'm trying my fucking hardest to survive. Like we got our backs to the wall, and then just Jake, you just bash him with a chair and just go.
It's just the like imagine this. It's dark. There's no light out. You're in the maze of a home infested with zombies.
I'm so happy you didn't have the gun, cause I'm pretty sure if you fired it every second, it would just go.
So on top of the singing, there's just the sound of gunshot. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Luckily,
And then
if
the
you picked
occasional
up, if
just-
he was a buff boy, so if you picked up furniture and threw it, he wouldn't sing. But if you used any
Yeah.
other weapon, he'd sing.
Yeah, like I remember at one point you had a hockey stick, you broke it over the top of the zombie's head and just went and called the entire fucking horde from the other room into there. God, that game's a lot of fun. I have still yet to beat it, but yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the game. If you have not played it before, I highly suggest picking it up. And if you can get the PC version and get Parsec running, definitely play it with your friends. Or if you're in person, like couch co-op, because that is definitely like, that is a game that I want to play with Ethan.
Oh yeah. Ethan would be such a great buff boy.
Oh my god. Because one thing that you can do is if you make a ton of custom characters, there's a chance like they can replace other people in the game. So like if we're going along our path and we have multiple controllers plugged in, we can have it set where it's like, okay, the first companion we're going to pick up is going to be Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know, I would love that. Because I think it's an incredibly fun game. It's funny, the controls are simple, it's easy to pick up and play. It's not like, at least with the way that we play, it's not like a game like Enter the Gungeon, put a tally mark there. It's not like Enter the Gungeon where if you sit down, you know you're dedicated an hour to that playthrough. Like, we've gotten to I think the 10 or 9 day mark, right?
I like never really kept track of the time.
Because I mean, well, the whole thing is you're driving from Florida up to Canada because you know that there's a safe haven there from zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of our rounds generally tend to end around 30 minutes, I would say.
Yeah.
So I will say, if you know what you're doing, you're probably going to last longer than us, and it will be an hour long. But like, the game goes by quick. It's fun. It's fast. There's a lot of good gags. There's one gag that I like a lot that we haven't actually gotten yet, and it's you find this like tower that's like, or like no, it's a truck. I think it's a nacho truck. You can choose to open the door, and if you open the door, whoever opens the door dies because they get enveloped in hot nacho cheese and it burns them alive, but everybody else gets a ton of food.
Oh my god, I remembered something. Remember we got the truck, or like car or whatever from Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, we got the fucking dog mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's references to movies all over. Hell, you can unlock, I think you can unlock Jason as like a serial killer character. And
Oh my god, we got the
other
murderous
characters-
clown too.
Yeah, we got the clown, and when you added him to the team, it was just like, why did you add him?
Yeah, it's like, why did you add him?
Yeah, that's like, there's this one character who looks like an anime magical girl, and the more damage they take, the more their makeup and their face melts. And until they die, and you can pick up their star rod thing and just cast spells. It's really fucking funny. Like, there's definitely a lot more to the game than I know, because I'm still trying to understand, you know, the skill trees and the unlocks and things like that, because there's a ton to unlock in this game.
Yeah.
There's so many options, and I've only just scratched the surface, but I'm hoping to understand the game a little bit better, like, soon enough.
And we're scratching the hour mark.
Oh my god, we're ending it?
I mean, like, what?
Why is that the go-to?
Did you want to add something?
I mean, to be honest, no.
Yeah.
I just feel kind of like... I feel shitty because we talked so much about the China situation, but I mean, it is important. It is very important.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I guess this is an episode. So, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Pixel Venture Podcast. We'll probably be here same time next week because Jake is editing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here's to a reliable schedule.
Unless you won't try again.
No, I have no time. I actually have no time this entire upcoming week.
What I hear is, you don't care about the podcast.
What I hear is, thank you for listening to the podcast. My name's Corey.
And I'm back in the editing dungeon.
See you guys next week.
See ya.
stand with Hong Kong.